This is the third video in the series for Excel 2010-2007. In this video, I'm going to go over two things, and time permitting, maybe a little more. I'm going to go over naming ranges and examples of absolute reference. So in this example here, I've got a section where I've got sales for shirts, pants, and shoes, total, and a grand total. It's going to increase the zoom a little bit, and I'm just going to make up some numbers. So I'm just trying to put some numbers in here so I can use this as my example. Okay. Now usually if I was going to do this calculation, I would just come here, highlight all my numbers including the empty cell, and on the home button I just use the auto sum button, and it puts my total there for it. It automatically puts the summation. I don't have to put the equal sign or anything like that. And for the grand total, and I can just come here up here between A and B, left click and hold it and drag so I can extend the column. For the grand total, which is the total of these three numbers or all of these numbers, I click in the cell for the grand total, start the auto sum, highlight the three cells, and then hit enter, and that's my total. But for this exercise, I want to do what is called naming ranges. So I'm just going to do it differently as an exercise. The idea behind naming ranges is that I can highlight a given range and I can give it a name to that range, and then I can use it in a calculation anywhere on this sheet or any of the other sheets that I would like to do the calculation. So the way it works is I have to highlight these three cells, and then this up here is called the name box, and that's why it's called a name box, because you can give it a name. I click in there and I go ahead and type a name. So in this case I can call it sales 2008, so that when I look at it I know this is that range. Make sure that you highlight the right range, and whenever you give it a name you have to start with an alphabet. So I can type S2008, but I cannot type 2008 sales or 2 sales or 1 sales, and I cannot put a space between the sales and 2008. They have to be next to each other. And after I type the name, I hit enter. I know I've done it right, that when I go back and highlight that range, it says sales 2008. I'll highlight the 2009 sales, click in the name box, type sales 2009, enter. Now make sure, if you see, if I highlight it like this including the 2010, I'm doing it wrong because 2010 is not part of my sales number. Highlight the three things, click in the name box, sales 2010, and I hit enter. It's going to go back and check it again. 2009, sales 2008. Now when I go to the total up here, instead of using the auto sum, I can do equal SUM, start the bracket, press F3 on the keyboard, which will open a window that will allow me to pick the names. So I click sales 2008 and I click OK and I hit enter. The same way I can click in the cell C5, start the auto sum. Auto sum will always put the equal and everything for you and makes a guess about the thing you want to calculate. Now I don't want to do this. I'm just going to press F3, choose sales 2009, click OK, enter. Go to the next cell. I can do it manually, equal to sum, start the bracket, F3, sales 2010, enter. Now for the grand total, I can start the auto sum, press F3, sales 2008, click OK, comma, F3, sales 2009, comma, F3, sales 2010. Now you might still be wondering what's the benefit of this. The benefit is, if I go to sheet 3 and say I put here grand total, and I want to put the grand total here, So instead of going there and copying and something, I can create a grand total here by using the auto sum. Press F3 and I can choose sales 2008, comma, F3, sales 2009, comma, F3, sales 2010, and enter. So this is really good in places where you need to use some cells and you need to use this range of a cell in a calculation on many different places a lot of times. So you don't have to keep coming back and highlighting the cells. You can just use the name of the range in your calculation. So that's what naming ranges is all about. I can go to the sheet 2, and on sheet 2 I've got an example for absolute reference. So in this example, what I want to do first is do the total. So I can just highlight my cells like this, including the empty cell, and I click on the auto sum button, and it automatically puts the summation and puts 25,000 there. Now what I want to do is I want to find out the percentage of the sales that this individual salespeople are selling of the total. So what do is I do equal individual sales, which is B2, divided by the total, and I hit enter. Now I look for the fill handle and I pull it down and I get an error message, because if you remember from the first video I talked about fill handle. Fill handle, when it goes down the row, it will change the row in the calculation, leaving the division sign exactly the way it is. So the formula doesn't change, but it changes the B2 to B3, but the B5 changes to B6, and then B7, and then B8, and B8, B7, B6 are empty, so you get an error, divide by 0, which is you cannot divide anything by 0 in math. So to fix that problem, what I have to do is, when I'm doing this calculation, I'll redo it, equal individual sales divided by total. I have to somehow tell Excel that when I use the fill handle, don't change the cell in the calculation, and to do that I have to press the F4 key on the keyboard. In my case that button doesn't work because I'm doing this using a program, so I'll have to just type the $sign manually around the B and 5 like that. But if you press the F4 key on the keyboard, it will put the $sign for you. Now I hit enter. I look for the fill handle, copy it down, and there it is. Now if I want, I can use this percentage symbol and it puts my information in percentages. So whenever you have any kind of a calculation in which there is this one particular cell you don't want to change in the calculation, you have to use the absolute reference. Now I just want to show you some of the basic features of formatting which are available in Excel, and also some inserting rows and column features. So say for example I forgot to type someone's name in here and I wanted to add a new row right above the word Peter. I can just click on the word Peter, look for the option which says insert, and then there is an option when I click on the drop down button called Insert Sheet Rows, and I click it and it adds one, and now I can go ahead and type whatever I wanted to type. I can make up a number, then I click here and just use the fill handle and everything's okay, and you see all the totals and everything automatically took care of it. I can even click here and I can insert a sheet column, so it puts the column on the side. I can even, while I'm on this column, I can click the delete button. There's drop down, click delete sheet column and it deletes it. Same way I can click on Tony, choose delete sheet row, and it will delete it. I can even click on a cell, insert a cell, and it just asks me which direction do you want to put the cell, so that it will put things down, to the right, or whatever you feel like. You can extend the columns by coming here. You can even click on the top. You can go to Format, Column Width, and type a number there. Say 10. Just made it a little bigger. I can come here, highlight everything, Format, Column Width, and I can put a number. Everybody is that width. Okay. I can go to the Print Preview from here. There's my Print Preview button. You can add it if you don't have it by clicking here and customize your quick access toolbar by pressing the Print Preview button. And there's the Print Preview. It looks a little different in 2010. In 2007 it doesn't look like this. You will only see the page, not the print option. In this they've added an extra. Now if you look on my page, I don't have any of the lines. So to put the lines around it, I can do it two ways. I can go to the page layout and I can use print Gridlines, the grid line category here, put the print, and I can go to Print Preview and there is the grid line. I go back to home. In 2007 you see a red X button around here. You press that or you hit escape on the keyboard. It also works in 2010 and it comes back. Now if you want, I can highlight my information, and this category here, which is called bottom border, but it actually means just border, I click on the drop down button and I can choose all borders, so it will put a thick line around it. Now you see there is a thick line around it instead of a dotted line, which is a grid line. I can even highlight it, go back here, choose more borders, and now I can choose the thickness of the line. I can even change the colors, whatever I feel like. All I need to do is make sure I click here and choose outline and inside. If I don't do that, it doesn't change it, and you see the change shows up here, and I click OK, and there it is. I can highlight it again, click here, and then choose no border to remove it, or go to more borders and then choose none, and I click OK. So it removes it. And you can always do the bolds, italic, making the font size bigger, and all of those options, which are very much valid. I'm just going to come to the sheet 3 where I've typed a few things. For this title, I can highlight it like this, and I can look for this button which says merge and center. When I press it, it puts the title right in the middle. It merges the 5 cells into one, in this case 4 cells, and then puts the title in the middle. I can highlight January, February, March. Look for this button called orientation, click it, and I can choose vertical text. Now it puts the words in like this. I can also choose it to put it as an angle clockwise. Now I go back, and the last button I press has the yellow symbol on it, the angle counterclockwise. I press it to turn it off. Okay. Remember, you can always pause the video at any time and just practice this and come back and go back and look at it. I can highlight these numbers and I can put a dollar symbol, and as you see it puts the minus 200 in brackets. Now if you wanted to customize this a little bit more, you can click at this button here at the corner of number category. It opens this format cell window, and I can go to currency and I can choose that I want my negative numbers to show up in red bracket, and I click OK. Now whenever I have a negative number here, it will be red. Now this up here in A4, I've typed the whole word line 1, line 2 in that cell. If you look up here in the formula bar, you see it's not that I put line 1 in A4 and line 2 in B4. B4 is empty. Everything is in line 1, line 2, and I don't want to extend my column. I want to leave it like that, but I want to do it in such a way so that line 2 comes right below line 1. And they've added a really good shortcut to the ribbon, and it's called wrapping text. It's right above merge and center. You press it and it puts it in a wrapped way. So you can do that for like first name, last name kind of thing. you can use that option to do that. So that's it for this video for naming ranges, absolute references, and some of the formatting features which are available in Excel. You can always use this, like putting things in the middle of the cell. I can highlight more than one cells and do it. So those options are always available. And then you have the options for merging. If you change your mind, you can just click here and then choose unmerge, so it goes back to normal. Thank you for watching.